Hello and welcome to my third video in Love Month. So, keeping with the theme of love, I'm going to talk about something that I absolutely love, which is my collection. Because what is a collection but a labour of love? Because we put so much energy in purchasing as well as looking for the things that we need to complete or to add to our collection. So they are very much a labour of love. And because of that, I thought it was worth talking about. Plus, I've been wanting to make this video for so long. So what do I collect? I collect cuddly toys. As you may have guessed, I always have cuddly toys behind me on my bed. And I have been collecting them since I was a kid. Well, when I was a child, I was always given lots of cuddly toys, and I always liked playing with my cuddly toys, all sorts of games involving them. We used to come up with, like, them living in, like, we'd make these whole streets in the house, where they would all have a job and they would all go to the shops and stuff like that. Kind of like what you play with dolls, only I played with cuddly toys. But it wasn't until I started getting older that I realised how many cuddly toys I had. And I thought, you know what, maybe I want to actually make a collection. What if I just want to keep on collecting and collecting and collecting? But then I sort of realised that I can't just buy cuddly toys all the time. If I was going to do it, I would have to focus on certain areas, you know, so that I wouldn't just impulsively buy cuddly toys all the time. So I sort of narrowed it down to 4 areas that I collect. And I'm going to talk about each one of those today. So one of those is cuddly toys from around the world. So I don't travel all that much. I haven't actually been to that many countries. However, I am lucky enough to have friends and family who do travel to places. And when they come back, they do tend to bring me back a cuddly toy. At least my brother certainly did. He used to work for a cruise company, so he's probably the one who brought back the most. And I have picked up a few myself. But yeah, if I could get a cuddly toy from every country in the world, that would be brilliant. Highly, highly, highly unlikely, since I doubt if anyone will go to some of these little countries. But, you know, anytime anyone goes to a country that I don't have a cuddly toy from, I do like to request it. And some of the ones that I have include a Jamaican frog, a kiwi from New Zealand that either my mum or my mum's boyfriend brought me back, I'm not actually sure. A mole from the Czech Republic. It actually took us a while to realise it was a mole. In fact, it's actually a cartoon character from a cartoon show in Europe, but we didn't know it. So we just kind of called him Mushti, because I don't know what he was. A dragon from Poland that my friend Sel brought me back, and she's the cutest little dragon. In fact, she even has where she's from on her t-shirt, which you can't see because that's going to be backwards. But still. And from America, I actually have quite a few cuddly toys, including a stingray. Stingray. And probably the most obscure is this dragon that my brother brought me back from Slovenia. Yeah, I can't pronounce where exactly he's from in Slovenia, but it's the capital. The next area I focus on is animals. I mean, again, if I could have a cuddly toy of every animal that exists in the world, I'd be happy. Except that's highly unlikely, of course, because they're discovering new species every day. So I'm just doing the best I can. So every time I go to a zoo or safari place or anything like that, they're a really good place to find cuddly toys or different cuddly animals. And sometimes it's a bit hard to remember which I actually have, which is why I actually keep a list of what cuddly toys I already have. They all have names as well. Whether I can remember them all is another matter. And some of the examples I have is I got a cuddly sloth. He's called Captain Slow. A capybara, which I got from a zoo. A black squirrel, which is actually from Canada. My brother brought me back. He's called Colin. A caribou, which is also from Canada. But it's a bit different than just a normal deer. A lynx, which I got from Longleat. A rhino. I like my rhino. And a shark, which was from an aquarium, unsurprisingly. And one thing that was actually quite handy at collecting various different animals is these blue nose friends. There's a whole series of them. There's like, even got numbers. There's like over 100 of them. You can get like spider, and you can get a woolly mammoth, and you can get a centipede. You can get all sorts of cuddly toys, which is a very handy way of getting lots of different animals without them being too big. And the next area I focus on is unusual cuddly things. So like, instead of, this is why I specifically say I collect cuddly toys rather than cuddly animals or teddy bears or anything, because I really love finding unusually cuddly things. So like, for example, human type things I find a little bit weird. I do have a cuddly doctor, but he's got a very weird mouth. I don't like it. So I tend to like find unusual things. The best thing I can do is show you some examples of them, really. Like, I've got a cuddly avocado. He's got Al avocado. So that's a bit weird. Cuddly gingerbread man that I bought at Christmas, because I don't actually have many cuddly Christmas toys, strangely. I got this thing, which I'm not actually sure what it is. They just had one of those things that's when I worked at Summerfields, they had one of these things they had like an example of toys and stuff, really, and you could order them through that, a bit like a catalogue, I suppose. And they had this thing, and I thought, you know what, why not? I call it Fluff-a-Lump because it is just a ball of fluff with arms, legs and a face. It is very cute, but I have no idea what it's supposed to be. And then on a website I found you could get cuddly diseases. So I got, well, microbes as well. So I've got like a stem cell with little googly eyes. This one's the flu. Isn't he adorable? Don't you want to have him? And this one's a brain cell with googly eyes. So they were so unusual, I just had to have them. And I also have cuddly O. Apparently you could get a whole alphabet of cuddly letters. And I won this at a fair or something like that, and it's the letter O. Never found any others. I might have to look on eBay to see if you can get any more, but yes, I have the letter O. And I also find TV, movies and other media also have some very unusual, is another good place to get unusual cuddly things. Like, for example, a cuddly chocobo. Gonzo, whatever the hell he's supposed to be. I suppose an alien is what they'd sort of said he was, but I think he looks, come on, he looks like a kiwi. Kiwi. A cuddly monster. This is Mike from, obviously, Monsters, Inc. A porg, because why not? The moment I saw the porgs, I knew I had to have a cuddly one. And what do you know, I got one for Christmas. A cuddly candlestick, obviously Lumiere. Oh, he's so awesome. And, of course, Pokemon! I've actually got quite a few Pokemon, various different sizes. This is probably the biggest I have because I saw him in the Build-A-Bear workshop, and the one in Bath was closing, so I made an impulse buy of buying myself a cuddly Bulbasaur who smells of strawberries. And the last area I focus on is Care Bears, which you might be able to see my little collection over there. In fact, yeah. There they are, because they're all nicely sat at the bottom. And yeah, I've collected cuddly toys since I was a kid because Care Bears was one of my favourite cartoons when I was a child. And I had a couple. So I had some of the some of these when I was a kid. One of the oldest one I have is from when I was 5. And when I got to about my teens, I decided I wanted to start collecting the Care Bears, but I'm very selective with my Care Bears to a degree, in that I only collect the cuddly toys with the Care Bears that I remember from when I was a kid, because I know there are other ones that have been released since, but for me it's more of a nostalgia thing. So if I don't remember the Care Bear from when I used to watch the show, I'm not really that interested in owning them. And I do have quite a few. The reason I have so many, of course, is that I don't just have one of each Care Bear. I have 2 or 3 of some of the same ones. I have some really vintage ones. I have more modern ones. I have small ones, and I'll show you some of them. So I have a Care Bear in a onesie, because I thought that was just so adorable. I have some Care Bear cousins. Care Bear cousins are the hardest ones to get, because actually I've got all the Care Bears from the ones I remember. I've completed my collection, but Care Bear cousins are not quite as easy to collect because you can't find them they don't seem to release them new, or as many of them. They release some of them, but not all of them. So they're the ones I'm mostly focusing on at the moment. I got Graham's bear. She'd probably be worth more. I got her really cheap from a friend, but she'd probably be worth more if she had her shawl. But this is Graham's bear. Yeah, they also, as I say, they do seem to like doing some fun things with Care Bears, because here's a beach party Funshine bear. And this is a vintage. This is one of my oldest Care Bears. In fact, at least one of my oldest little Care Bears that I grew up with, which is Funshine. But this is my oldest Care Bear, my bedtime bear. Who is, yeah, he doesn't have his tummy symbol anymore, sadly, so you can't really tell that he is bedtime bear, apart from the fact that he's got very tired eyes. But his arm, they were made pretty tough, because that arm's been falling off since I was about 10. And I have True Heart. This is amazing, actually, because I bought her impulsively and randomly in Chicago Airport. It's actually one of the few, I don't usually keep my labels on them. The reason I keep hers on is because it has the price in dollars. And at the time I was surprised to find a True Heart, because they're not as common. She's a bit more common. Now, Noble Heart Horse, if I want a Noble Heart Horse, I have to spend a lot of money. And chances are I will never own a Noble Heart Horse unless they decide to re-release him. So that's my cuddly toy collection. I will admit there is one other area that I've thought about collecting, which is one cuddly toy from each animated Disney film. Just the classic ones, not all of them, because if I tried doing all the live action ones, that'd be ridiculous. And I've sort of thought about it because I already do have a Dumbo, I already have a Pegasus from Hercules, and of course, as you saw, Lumiere for Beauty and the Beast. But I get the idea, I probably don't want a cuddly toy from the Black Cauldron, because that little, whatever the hell it was too annoying for me to want a cuddly toy of it. And I do also have an old Mickey, an old Donald, and a more recent Goofy. So I do really like my Disney. And maybe I will add that as another area to focus on, but we'll see. For now, I will focus on those 4 areas that I just mentioned. And like I said, I'm always happy to receive cuddly toys as presents as well. And at my current count, I have 400 cuddly toys. Pretty much exact, if I've counted correctly, because as I said, I do have them all listed and divided into categories as well. So yes, that is my cuddly pals. And next week's video is the last one of Love Month, and I do have an idea for it. I just need to find the right film. So see you then. Au revoir.